Yo, we're live here in the Forge. Gonna go over my thoughts on the waiver wire options at the quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end position. Quick to start the video off for anybody that is watching this video in the future, so that way you can just watch that. But if you want to watch the rest of the show, go right ahead. People will come in and ask me questions, start, sit, trade, waiver wire stuff. John Bow, what is up? How are you doing, my brother? Just real quick, John Bow. Yeah, I like the trade. I would have been okay with Ferguson for just Hunter or just JCM, somewhat okay with that. But the both of them, yeah, I think that's a good trade. And Jason Ortiz, let me know if you're in here, and I'll try to get through this as quickly as I can and then get to you. But let me know once you're in here. So for the quarterbacks, Jackson Dart, if he's still available in your league, heck yeah, I mean, go get him. What's he doing available still? That's crazy. Joe Flacco, I think he's going to be viable, at least matchup dependent, but like he's gone up against two defenses where you would think that they might cause problems because of quick pressure and the offensive line that they have in Cincinnati there. In his first two matchups, his first 15 days or less, probably than that, even in Cincinnati with this team, and he passed those tests. So really, I don't even know if it's matchup dependent. I'm sure teams will get used to things and be able to cover it in some situations better, but nonetheless, congratulations to Joe Flacco. I'm sure he's extremely excited to actually have some wide receivers to throw to for once. Aaron Rodgers, I think, is a good pickup for this week if you're looking for a guy to work out this week. Same with Michael Penix. It's a good matchup this week for him. Darnold's a fine guy. I have no problem really with the order here. I might put Darnold over Penix. I would almost certainly put Darnold over Penix. Tyrod Taylor, but it's not like the worst if you're looking for somebody for this week in a deeper league. Same with Spencer Rattler. Let's move on to the running backs here. What's up, CC? Guys, I will get on into the questions as quickly as I can. For the running backs, obviously Kyle Managa is like the number one guy here, but don't forget, don't go too crazy on this. I do like to have him, and I like the upside of him potentially and all that good stuff. But don't get so crazy on this if you're having to put a certain amount of fab down or something, because don't forget, DeAndre Swift did come into this game injured. So that could be a part of it. And didn't they kind of get control of it? Nonetheless, really promising showing. I would guess that he's at least going to get more usage going forward. And in a world where we got a whole lot of two running back backfields, what's one more? Tyler Algier, really good play for this week. I mean, in a sense of you need somebody. It's by Magedding. They're going up in a matchup where he could have one of those good games. Brashard Smith, longer term, I like him, of course, I always have. Tyjae Spears, don't really like so much. I would rather take an Isaiah Davis and see if Breece Hall doesn't get injured in about 2 weeks or so from now. In fact, I believe I have a waiver to drop Nick Chubb for him because I have Woody Marks anyways in that league, and I don't have space to. I need to drop somebody, and that's about as bad as it might get there. So I just figured let's just do that and take a shot, because in that league I need something to pump up a running back room full of RB2 to flex running backs. So if I were to get something from Isaiah Davis, that would be great. So in any kind of situation like that, like take a shot on it. See if you don't get a starting running back. I don't love the talent and all that good stuff, and I don't desperately want the running back for the New York Jets. Nonetheless, good pick. Zonovan Knight should probably be just a little bit higher if you need someone to start for your league this week. I would probably say he should be probably ahead of Tyler Algier, even, I think. Let's see. What do my running back rankings say on that real quick? Where do I have? Is it a bye week for Arizona? Yeah, it is. Never mind. So Zonovan Knight's a fine pickup. You can't use him this week. Maybe that's probably why he's a little bit lower on this list. Maybe don't waste a waiver wire pick on it. Just wait to see if he clears your waivers in 12 or fewer teams. 14-team league or something, you might need to grab him. Ken Gainwell, Devin Neal, Robinson, Tyjae Robinson, those are all guys you're grabbing just to have on the bench in case of an injury type of situation deeper league holds. And then for the wide receivers, Kayshon Boutte. I don't love this week going up against Cleveland. I don't love that matchup for him, so he would not be like my number one waiver wire pickup for this week. Darnell Mooney, I do like enough. I think going up against Miami, if I recall correctly. Troy Franklin, Marvin Mims, they could always have a good week, or maybe both of them could have a good week, like happened last week. I think Josh Downs is worth having. I think it was just a concussion, so probably be coming back. That's good. Once again, it's a pretty crowded wide receiver room, so he's hard to trust too much, but definitely worth having on the back of a bench in case emergency and all that good stuff. Malik Washington might end up seeing a little bit more work. That's why he's a little higher on this list this week after a few disappointing performances. I like Io Manor. I probably would rather take the shot on Malik Washington. And Tez Johnson, I think, is woefully way too low on this list. I would probably put him at the top, just out of the possibility of what you could get from him. Yeah, I think he would be my number one waiver wire option out of this group. Xavier Legette, I would have a little bit higher here. Probably closer to Erickson. He has been getting targeted a lot. If that can start to turn into something, you never know. So I would probably take that shot over at least Josh Downs on down outside of Tez Johnson. And Darius Slayton's always somebody that you could grab to use. He should be getting healthy soon. And then the tight ends. This is where it's at, right? A bunch of them. But Rondé Gadsden, I do agree, even though I think he's probably a trap tight end, it is so worth taking the risk on it because he has been so fantastic. So you need a tight end. Rondé Gadsden, your guy, take a shot on it. He has been generational. I mean, he's been extremely fantastic so far in his young career. And there's, definitely room in that tight end room for him to keep this role. I just don't know how readily you might actually get the points from that. And as that offensive line gets a little bit healthier, I think the ball makes it to the wide receivers a little bit more than the tight end. But we'll see. Once again, he's been super talented, so there's a chance it just continues. Mason Taylor, I have a tough time arguing with him being right about here as a top 2 option. But if you want somebody with maybe a little more upside, I do think it's a little bit riskier, but Colston Loveland. I do like Mason Taylor for this week if there is no Justin Fields, so a little bit more. For the short term, if you're looking for somebody to actually use compared to Colston Loveland, but you're looking for somebody long term to take a shot at, Colston Loveland. Juwan Johnson, I probably agree with him right about here. Once again, I technically put him below Colston Loveland because I tend to value long-term value more than short-term value. Dalton Schultz going up against San Francisco is not necessarily a fantastic matchup. Jonnu Smith, I do like this week to have a good week. And K. Dotton, I would put higher up on this list with no Mike Evans. He tends to do a lot better without Mike Evans on the field as a big target. He kind of becomes the big target in this offense in that situation. So I would probably put him ahead of Juwan Johnson. So Gadsden, I think Cade Otton, Colston Loveland, Mason Taylor, Juwan Johnson, Jonnu Smith for an immediate use this week. Dalton Schultz, however, has been good on the season. Surprisingly, he's been fine. And then Pat Freiermuth, Daniel Bellinger, I would not mess with. Just go out, grab a guy off the waiver wire. It might be one of them, and somebody else grabs one of them. Don't worry, just grab somebody else. It'll probably be all right. So there you go. Those are the waiver wire options for this week. Once again, Jason Ortiz, if you're out there, let me know. But let me answer Jason Ortiz's questions in case he watches this video back on replay in order to get the answers that he asked. So should I drop Ayuk/Fanning? You can drop Ayuk, I think, just fine. And then got Tyler Warren, so yes, Fanning is droppable. Don't have to drop him, but you don't need to hold on to 2 tight ends. So definitely yes. I mean, you're never going to start him over Tyler Warren. And Io Manor, I think yes for Taz Johnson, Menangai, Brashard Smith, Spears, probably in that order. And they're all droppable. Should I drop Nick Chubb/Cup for Tez, Mooney, Coleman, Menangai, Brashard Smith? So I would put Mooney ahead of Coleman and Tez, but Tez probably behind Mooney. So yes, they're droppable, especially Cup. Nick Chubb, depending on your team makeup and everything, is droppable. You don't have to drop him, though. He's still a starting running back in the league. So he should be on somebody's roster, but it doesn't need to be your roster. So yes, you could drop them. Should I drop Mixon, Evans? Might be back for fantasy playoffs. The team apparently has come out and said it's looking more and more like he might be just out for the season. Of course, you can drop Mixon, yes. And Evans is, yes, very much droppable. Even if he comes back, week 15, week 16, 17, great. You made it there, probably because I don't know. You can hold on to him. You could drop him. I don't know. It's risky. If you got an IR spot, that's preferable. Henry, you got Ertz. Yes, you could drop him for Tracy, Manangai, Brashard Smith. So once again, Tez, Manangai, Brashard Smith. Yeah, probably in that order. I don't know. I'm stuck between Brashard Smith and Manangai. I might want Brashard Smith more than Manangai. What did I say when I went over the running backs? Which one did I have first there? All right, John Bowe, since Evans is hurt, the trade. I like the trade. Now you got a quarterback problem. Welcome to the party, right? Although I actually don't have a quarterback problem. Chase, what's up, Chase? How are you doing? Planning on dropping Fields for Dart? Oh, yeah. Is Dart startable this week? I mean, he just did fantastic against them 2 weeks ago. He seems to be startable in any matchup. Yeah. He's startable for now until further notice. CC Sharks, what is up? With Jaden Daniels likely not playing, I would not bank on him. Plus, it's that Monday Night Football game. Who should I pick up? Aaron Rodgers and Michael Penix. I've got Aaron Rodgers ranked is fairly significantly higher than Penix, I believe, at this point. And I don't really foresee that changing. No, look at that. Other way around. I've got Penix one spot ahead of Aaron Rodgers. Michael Penix, though, you might miss out. I do love Aaron Rodgers this week against Green Bay. I think it is a matchup where they will be able to move the ball against the Green Bay Packers with how they operate that offense. So I don't think it's a good matchup for this Green Bay defense. And so, yes, either one, whichever one you want, go for it. Michael Penix did get a little banged up, so there's always a chance that you might pick up another guy that's injured. So maybe it's safer to just go with Aaron Rodgers if you're going to use a waiver wire option on it. Chase Lex, would you drop Brian Robinson, Isaiah Davis, or Jacoby Myers? Need a replacement for Jaden Daniels. Yeah, I would probably drop Brian Robinson first out of that group, depending on what my wide receiver room looks like, or you could just drop Jacoby Myers out there, and hey, maybe somebody will drop Darnell Mooney for Jacoby Myers or something like that, and then you could pick up Darnell Mooney and drop Brian Robinson. So maybe you drop Jacoby Myers out there just to see what somebody else drops. If they were to pick him up. But generally speaking, I think Brian Robinson would be the lowest on that rung, but of course he is the most valuable if an injury were to happen there. Can't see me playing him, and I'd rather have the stashes. So there you go. Yeah. Go right ahead. It's a 10-team league, too, so, yeah, wide receivers are very much a plenty in 10-team league. So, unless it's super, super deep league, yes, 10-team, let's just drop Jacoby. You can find something there to replace it. And, he might come through later on in the season. You gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. JR's Smile, pick up Gaston or Ertz? I would go Gadsden this week. I actually have Ertz ranked really low. And Gads up here. Look at that. I do believe at one point while I was creating my rankings, it was not like this, but I did some changes. I will do more changes throughout the week, but Kansas City is not a good matchup, and if we don't have Jaden Daniels, that's not as good for Zach Ertz either. And Arande's been fantastic, and Minnesota does a lot of teams do target their tight ends pretty heavily against Minnesota because of that pass rush and everything to offset that. So could be another good week for Aranda Gadsden. So that's the route I would go. Falcons, Chargers, or Bucks DST. Holy cow, a DST question. Let's see here. Rankings. Oh, we don't have this season's. Oh, week 8. Yeah, it's Tuesday. We got rankings. All right, so what do we want? We want Falcons, Chargers, or Bucks? I mean, Falcons, yeah. I was going to say, Falcons jumps out to me out of that group. So, it jumped out here, too. So, I would go Falcons. Chargers, Minnesota, probably not. I mean, it is Wentz, so could throw some picks and all that good stuff. And Tampa Bay, New Orleans. I mean, for the most part, Spencer Rattler's pretty good at protecting the ball. I know he's had 1 or 2 stints where he's gone a little haywire and thrown some picks and all that good stuff. But I think it's just clearly Atlanta. They're really good, and it's a really bad matchup for Miami. Like they match up against Miami extremely well. So I think this could be the week where maybe a certain head coach gets fired because of another bad game in a row. Jace, would you drop? Okay, we got that one. We got that one. Bam Knight or Menangai rest of season? I would go Menangai. I don't think you're gonna get too much out of Bam Knight. I mean, technically speaking, I'd say Bam Knight's like gonna score more points on a per game basis as is, but there will become a day where Bam Knight's not gonna be valuable at all. You know, probably at least when Trey Benson comes back, and I would rather have the running back for Chicago than Arizona at this point. I'm planning on picking up Mooney to start over Harvey at my flex. Yes, that would be a good thing to do there. Harvey's, you know, not so great for fantasy purposes at this point in time. Ronaldo, Rencone, what is up? Dropping Mason or Fanning for Gadsden? I would probably drop... Man, that's tough. Because Njoku comes back, but Njoku might be traded. Mason Taylor's definitely got that spot, but when Fields is at the quarterback, I just feel like it's going to be a crapshoot on which weeks he actually targets Mason Taylor. Fanning more upside, but like lower floor just because of the shared situation there. I would probably drop Mason Taylor, but yeah, because you're going to get Gadsden anyways. I would probably drop Mason Taylor. JR is also, I'm looking to trade for Bucky. My team is Jaden Daniels, CMC, Bill, Nico Tet, McConkey, McBride, Jordan Mason, and Aaron Jones. RJ Harvey, any ideas for Bucky Irving? Could you try Bill and Nico? I don't think that'll get it. I don't see it without having to trade CMC or McBride. But Bill and Nico is the two that I would try to send for it. See if you can't get that done. That might work. I mean, that might work. Maybe it won't. It sucks that Nico's got a concussion right now because he's probably going to miss a week, which is going to lower his trade value. But maybe the team's... I don't know. Yeah, that's tough. I guess McConkey and Bill, you know, maybe the person happens to be a McConkey lover and they love Bill. Never know. But I would try to send Nico and Bill would be my offer then. Ronaldo, born for Jennings or Tez. I guess, you know, Bucky's also going to miss this week, so there is a little bit of that trade-off there anyways. So maybe that does make sense. I think that's probably what you would have to give up. You could always try Mason and Nico, but I think it's going to have to be Nico and one of those running backs. Bourne and Jennings for to trade. I would rather have Juwan Jennings than Tez myself, so I wouldn't do it because I would rather him alone. And then you got Bourne on top of that. Bourne for Tez. John Bowe. The only good thing with all my bye weeks with JSN and Gibbs is that I'm facing the worst team in the league. There we go. Nice. See, that's why it doesn't even matter sometimes. Maybe you'll win anyways. Pull one out. With Kyron and Ken Walker on a bye, who should I start at running back, Woody or Vidal? I believe that's probably Vidal. Let me see currently what my rankings look like here. Yeah. Significantly ahead of him. Minnesota is a run funnel. Teams tend to run on him quite a bit. So, should get another, you know, he's been getting good opportunities. And 1 week he went off and 1 week he didn't. So, I think that's the shot that you take. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I would do. Vidal for me. With Kyron Walker on by. Okay. Full PPR. And Vidal can catch the ball. I mean, they don't target him a lot. Probably not. Pick up Bo Nix or Dart to replace Jaden Daniels. I would go Dart. I would go Dart over Nix. Hello, Nathan Boyd. How are you doing? Do you prefer Jacobs and London or Cook and Rice rest of season half PPR? Jacobs and London or Cook and Rice. All right. So Ray Rice, James Cook. I would prefer Ray Rice and James Cook over Josh Jacobs and London. Not confidently, but I would prefer those two. What's your rest of season outlook on Igbuka? Hell yeah, wheels up, baby, let's go. What kind of players are you ranking him over rest of season? Well, I don't do rest of season rankings, but let's see here. Oh, you know what, guys? There was at least one waiver wire name here. Oh, JJ McCarthy is a running back in like 14-team league and stuff, a quarterback that you could always grab. I think we gotta go. Alec Pierce, I think, was not on that waiver wire list. Alec Pierce would be like right up there with Darnell Mooney, so like top 3-ish waiver wire pickup for me. I don't think I love him this week specifically. And again, maybe that was last week. But Alec Pierce, I think, is a really, really strong grab to get out there. I think that was the other name I wanted to mention. Jack Besh is a deep stash. I have him in a 14-team league. If they trade Jacoby Myers, especially, that could turn into something. And I still got A.J. Barner up there. Oh, the other tight end in Seattle is always interesting. Theo Johnson I still like. I don't like this week, not right now, but he's getting targeted a lot as well. So as a tight end, he was up there. And Isaiah Likely, if they were to trade Mark Andrews, could be extremely valuable. So also a good stash candidate if you're just looking for that potential. You probably could wait till next week to do that, or like Sunday morning and just drop something that you don't need anymore to do that then. What am I looking at? Rest of season rankings. And the question was Igbuka rest of season. All right, so they've got him 11 here. I would probably prefer him to Roma Dunze. I do think better quarterback, less competition now for targets, really, too. Nico Collins, I would probably put Igbuka over Nico Collins. Better quarterback, better offensive system, and all that good stuff. I would put him over Devontae Adams. I would put him over Drake London for as long as Mooney is in. Probably over Drake London. Yeah, I think he's right in that Rashee Rice tier where and I would put him up ahead of Rashee Rice just because Rashee Rice does have competition there. We got a 1-week sample size. Emeka is a rookie. The sky's the limit for him. He came out hot, and some of that was fantasy driven, like getting those touchdowns and stuff, but still, like, he gets open and all that good stuff. I would have him as a clear top 10 rest of season receiver. Yeah. A.J. Brown might be a little low on that list there, maybe, probably. But I think I would want Igbuka over A.J. at this point. Over Justin Jefferson? I think so. Amon-Ra, no. CeeDee Lamb, no. Jamar Chase, I guess not. JSN, no. Puka, no. I think I would have him at wide receiver 6 rest of season. Yeah. It's a real good situation. Real good for him. All right, John Bo, I got to go. I'll be on the next stream. I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you for stopping in so much. Don't forget to like the stream, guys. Just, helps out. Troy Franklin is making some noise. Just stay patient with this Dallas game. Should be a boom game. Kelsey coming in with the advice. Yes, the only question is, it's just like, which ones of them will they be? But, yeah, I've had Troy Franklin on my team since, week 3 or something like that on one of my rosters, and I ain't cutting him. At least I think I have them. I'm pretty sure I have them. You like the Patriots or Falcons better this week for DST? I think probably the Falcons. Not rest of season. Oh, that's cool. I never realized that. I can just switch right there. Yeah, I really like how Atlanta matches up against Miami. I would go with Atlanta over New England myself. I think that could be ugly. I would do it obviously, Nathan. I just said it, and good thing I ended up looking at that one higher there. I would do it over Jefferson. I mean, JJ McCarthy's gonna be coming back in a couple of weeks, and frankly, I'm pretty sure Wentz is better for him fantasy wise. I don't think they should keep Wentz in as their quarterback. I think they should get JJ McCarthy out there as soon as they can once he's ready to go and they feel comfortable with it. But at least for a period of time until JJ McCarthy learns more, and of course now that he's missed so much more time, that just takes all the longer for that to potentially happen. Like, you know, I don't think he's better for Jefferson, and I think that the team probably tries to run more when he's out there at quarterback compared to when Wentz is at quarterback. Is Mike Evans droppable, Lance? I do think so. Yes, obviously he could come back for the playoffs and everything, but apparently the team has come out and said that they're kind of expecting it to be season ending. So I would just drop him if I didn't have the ability to hold on to him, if I wanted to hold on to everything else that I have, and if it comes back to bite me in the butt and I lose my championship game because of it, it's the only situation where I will probably regret it. Or if I, lose any playoff game because I didn't still have him on my team. But, like, he'll probably come back week one of the playoffs, and then, does he come back limited? There's always that risk of him coming back and being kind of like a decoy in week one, being limited and stuff, and either you played him and then you get screwed from playing him, or you don't play him and then he goes off anyways and then you didn't have him. So, that's already 1 week down the drain. His first potential week back, that's like the earliest he could come back is week 15, it really seems like. Maybe it's not. Maybe week 14 or something. You never know for sure. But that kind of seems to be the case right now, is that the earliest you come back would be week 1 of the playoffs. And then even if it's not that, then it's okay. It's week 16. Same scenario. If it's week 16, maybe it's week 17. Maybe it's week 18. They're basically, you would think that they're just going to plan on having him back for the playoffs and maybe a 2 to maybe 3 game ramp up there at the end of the season, and it probably would be a ramp up, I would think. Although it's just a broken clavicle, so it's not like, well, I guess there's still some conditioning issues that come up with that, because he's gonna have to get out of condition for a little while with that. Yeah, once again, I mean, I think he's droppable. I'd rather hold on to him if I could, but I don't want to just ruin my whole, not make the playoffs because I was inflexible with him. Look at that. Is that it, guys? Is that all the questions we have? Are we in and out in a half hour? I don't mind if we are. I got a couple things I still got to do. I thought maybe tonight would be crazy just because of all the tight end stuff and the injuries to quarterbacks and everything. But it seems like people know what they want to do. All right. I'll hang out for at least till 9 o'clock here. No more questions come in the next couple of minutes. We'll call it a wrap, and that's okay. We're just here to quickly answer some questions. Yeah, once again, I got a couple things I got to do. I got a blood test in the morning. And hey, if I can get one more meal in before I got to fast, I don't mind that. Hey, guys, how about that Denver New York Giants game? Did any of you guys get to watch that as it happened? Ooh, a large chunk of suspected space debris was found in the Australian desert. How fun. Smitty. What's up, Smitty? By the way, Smitty, my grandpa's his nickname was Smitty. And then half of my family is the Smits down the line. Or a quarter of my family is the Smits. I have Kittle and Fannin. Would you trade Fannin for Wilson? Garrett Wilson? I would trade him for Garrett Wilson all day. And I would trade him for Addison all day too, but I'd rather Garrett Wilson. Is that Garrett Wilson? Do you have any other doable targets I should go for? Not over Garrett Wilson and probably not over Addison. I mean, if you can get either of them, that's fantastic. That would be a steal. Just to give you an idea of like a trade chart, CBS trade chart. The value, according to this trade chart, of your tight end is nothing. No value. He doesn't even make the trade chart. Absolutely nothing. And Garrett Wilson's trade chart value here is about 16 half PPR fantasy, half PPR points on this, scale. We don't have to agree with it exactly. And then Addison, 11.5 half PPR points. It's not half PPR points. It's just points in half PPR formats. So, definitely. Because I tend to agree with that. Bob Hope. What's up, Bobby? Pitts, Fannin, also Casey. Okay, Pitts or Fannin? I think you gotta go Pitts this week. I'm pretty sure. Let me verify that. But I think I like Pitts. Yes, I do. In fact, I love Pitts going up against Miami. They suck against tight ends. Absolutely suck. And he's been pretty good this season. Pretty good. So let's give Pitts a shot this week. Fannin going up against New England. I'll move him up ahead of Mason Taylor probably if two things. Is it Teddy Two Gloves? I keep forgetting who the heck the other Taylor. Tyrod Taylor. If Tyrod Taylor is not the quarterback for the Jets this week, if it's Justin Fields, I might move Fannin ahead. But that is also more so reliant on if David Njoku's playing or not. So if there's no Njoku, I'll move him up here. But I am moving up ahead of Pitts. Falcons. Drop Algier for Dobbs. If you need wide receiver help, you could. I mean, Algier's good, and this is a good week for him. But if you need a little wide receiver help, I'm fine with it. Dobbs looks like he's getting kind of consistent. He has been getting consistently targeted over the last 3 weeks, I should say. And then DST. Atlanta, I'll go Atlanta regardless of who's quarterback for Washington. I think that Atlanta matches up extremely well against Miami. You got AJ Terrell, who's probably going to cover Waddle perfectly fine, probably at the very least limit him. And then you've got that pass rush against this Miami offensive line, and you got Tua in at quarterback who doesn't do so well when rushed like that. So I really think that it's a bad matchup for Miami, and they might just get slaughtered. At least like their offense might just stank. What's cracking, Frank Nunes? How are you doing? How much longer are we keeping Golden? I don't know why everybody's down on him. He caught 4 of 4 targets this week. I mean, that's better. We're seeing improvement. Well, during the stream on Sunday morning, I went back to prove a point about rookies and look back at Justin Jefferson's first, his rookie season, best, wide receiver in the league. Did fantastic his rookie year for fantasy. He didn't do anything until I shouldn't say that. He didn't break through until week 9. He had 2 good games, which, yeah, unfortunately, Golden didn't. But Golden did come very close to a couple of big games. There was a 70-yard pass that, just barely skirts through his fingers or something like that. That would have been a big game. There was also a touchdown, I think it's called back on a stupid holding call, probably didn't impact the play ultimately. So, Golden could have had a few big games, and we'd be looking at him a little bit differently too. But rookies, they take some time, and this is not a wide receiver room that has a dominant guy. So there is the possibility. So it depends what you're dropping him for. Yeah, Watson coming back, and I do think Watson coming back would probably hurt Golden the most, potentially. But I don't know. That depends on their plan. You would think that they want to keep, bringing Golden along there. So as long as they're not giving up on Golden, I think you'll still see plenty more opportunities, and his opportunities will increase, and hopefully he'll get targeted more and all that stuff. But you're not wrong there. There is a little added concern with Watson coming back. But they like to use Watson on end around stuff, and they really haven't done enough of that, I would say. A lot of that with Golden too. So they might. I think Watson is more like the Who's the other rookie that they drafted from TCU? I can't think of his name right now. Who's had a few plays, like just a little gadgety. And they definitely might just use Watson kind of gadgety for now, and then as the like Dontavian Wicks just got injured again with his calf, so there's another reason to potentially keep him. But like, yeah, I mean, so it could just be, Dobbs, Golden, and him. I mean, if that Wicks injury is anything significant. I wonder if any news came out that. Expected to miss multiple weeks. So that helps in the short term too to open things up. And as we know, with these rookies, all it takes sometimes is that to open up. Sutton or Igbuka in standard Ray. I think it's gonna be Igbuka. I like them both, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Igbuka. I got him ranked pretty high. Yeah, that's Igbuka, but I have them both as must starts. You can see there, my must start list is only 8 guys, so I would kind of be surprised. It is standard. Yeah, I mean, look at the Vegas implied point totals. It does favor Igbuka even there too. Targets also in favor of Igbuka, and now there's no Mike Evans, and I think Chris Godwin's probably going to be out still. So I would go Igbuka there. Like them both quite a bit. How you doing, Ray? I was asking earlier if anybody caught happened to watch the New York Giants Denver game live. Were you lucky enough to watch that craziness? Only 5-man bench. My other wide receivers are Chase, JSN, Flowers, Golden, and Pearsall on IR. Personally, I'd rather Golden than Pearsall. Tez Johnson looked like he might get some run now. He was my number one. I think he was my number one wide receiver waiver. 1 or 2 this week. So, so you're playing Chase, JSN, probably Flowers. I don't know what your running backs look like, but yeah, with Chase, Jason, Flowers, I would rather hold on to Golden because I don't really need to play Pearsall, and Pearsall is now going to be playing with, of course, is still the running back, Christian McCaffrey, but with, I keep wanting to call him Dallas Goedert for some reason right now. The best tight end in the league. Oh my God. This is what happens. When I can't think of something, then I try to think of it, and then I can't think of anything. George Kittle. Thank you very much. So with George Kittle coming back, and then Juwan Johnson now again back, which Pearsall and Juwan Johnson did play in a game together, and actually that was the game that Juwan Johnson did go off. And Pearsall, I think, had a couple of big catches for yardage, but didn't end up, having a great fantasy day that week. Pearsall is coming back from an injury and all that good stuff again too, and he has been injured quite a bit. Although one of those was a gunshot wound. And then Brandon Ayuk, it does sound like he'll be coming back, so that'll be another guy there that'll slowly eat up some targets too. Doing well. Appreciate you. I am doing well. Can't complain. I got a blood draw in the morning, so I got to fast. Meh. I got Rasheed back last week. Hell yeah. How does that feel? So now I can play him with Jefferson Igbuka. Definitely Igbuka. And Rasheed can be... Possibly it could be absolute beasts. Hopefully Rasheed will keep it up. And Igbuka I have 0 doubts on. I would plan on Jaden Daniels being out, because the other thing too is if you try to rely on him, it might be a Monday night decision, so that could hamper things, or you have to hold 2 quarterbacks and all that. I might have to get Flacco off waivers and Goff is on by. Yeah, Flacco is a good play. He seems pretty legit. Go to my rankings here. Got him like top 12, I think? 14th against the Jets. And I think you could easily make an argument to put him I mean, you could make an argument, I would say, to put him all the way up to 10, ahead of Bo Nix, possibly. I wouldn't quite do that because of the rushing upside for Bo Nix and the good matchup, but, like, it's right there. It's right there. So, Joe Flacco should be a good pick this week. And the Jets will probably be without Sauce Gardner since he suffered a concussion. So, double thumbs up to that. Running backs are Judkins, Hall, Sharp. Oh, okay. So Judkins, Hall, Charbonnet, Chase Brown, and Woody. So you could probably drop Woody. I would keep Golden over Woody. If you want to. Because Pearsall should be coming back this week. So you're going to have to make a decision on Pearsall, too. Unless you can make all of your moves before. And then if you could keep Pearsall on your bench for an extra week. Depends the format that you play on. But I think most formats allow you to keep them there. It's just you can't make any moves while they're there and, they're active. They're not out or IR. So if you could just make all your moves that you're going to need to do throughout the week, you could keep Pearsall there and keep an extra man for a week if your league allows that and everything. I'm in a league where they don't police that kind of thing, which I feel is right. Like, it shouldn't be on the commissioner to have to police that, and if the system allows it and doesn't force you to do something within 24 hours or something like that, then, hey, might as well allow it. You're very welcome, Ray. Frizzle, what's up? Gadsden or Kyle Pitts? I do like Kyle Pitts a lot this week, so I would go with Kyle Pitts this week. And I would go Kyle Pitts season long still over Gadsden. I do have a fear because there are so many receiving targets in that offense that Gadsden could be a total trap back, a trap, tight end, whatever. It might just be impossible to predict and all that good stuff. But at the same time, he's just been so good. Just so good. So there is immense upside with him. But I like Pitts this week more anyways. So I would say Pitts. Unless you're just looking long-term. If you're looking long-term, it could be worth taking that upside on Gadsden if you don't have Tyler Warren. I suppose we'll keep Jake Ferguson in that conversation, but I really want, if you don't have George Kittle, Tyler Warren, Brock Bowers, I guess we could probably put in, Trey McBride, though, is the other one. If you don't have one of those three, but you want somebody that might be like that, Oronde Gadsden obviously has a chance, whereas Kyle Pitts, we know that's not him at this point. Yeah, you could drop Mason for them. I still, like the chances for Mason to be good, but I like him better with Tyrod Taylor. Frizz. Wait, that's the plan. All my buys are covered next couple weeks. Yes, ESPN. Yeah, so ESPN, exactly. Yep, that's the way to do it. Like, who did I hold on to? Did I get one extra week out of Darnell Mooney? Did I keep Darnell Mooney maybe, I think, in a... Yeah, I think it was Darnell Mooney. I was able to just keep in a... Yeah, he came back this week. Yep. So I got everything done, and then just was able to hold on to one extra guy, which was nice, probably, because I think that might be the same league that I have... Oh, wait, it wasn't Darnell Mooney. I was going to say, because that's the same league I have Travis Hunter. And so, that helped to not have to make that decision. Now I get to keep them both. I didn't draft either Mooney or Hunter. So I just love that those two are sitting on my bench. I got good wide receivers in that league, but I wasn't deep. And so when I saw them available, I'm like, all right, we'll bring you guys into the fold. Let's see what happens here. Only issues, well, I don't know if it's an issue, but I also own Drake London, so I don't know if it's an ideal to have a wide receiver. Well, they don't have, they don't have a lot of weapons, though. I mean, they both, produce just fine. I just really like Kyle Pitts this week, but yeah, if you're not, and Oronde Gadsden's a fine play this week against Minnesota. Teams target their tight ends a lot against Minnesota because of their pass rush and how they play and their simulated pressures and everything. So they get targeted pretty heavily against Minnesota. So Oronde Gadsden's definitely in line to potentially have another big week. I might end up moving him ahead of Travis Kelce. It's so hard because Travis Kelce's been so good, but like I'm trying to predict the future. I with Rashee Rice back, I just don't think Kelce's going to be what he has been up to this point in the season. The only issue is going up against Washington, touchdown upside, still pretty darn good there in that matchup. So yeah, I mean, you just want to avoid that. I don't think it's too bad to have them both, but obviously it feels better sometimes to have your eggs spread out a little bit. You would do Flacco over Dart. I would do Dart over Flacco. Season long, and just if I was picking up a quarterback, even for this week, I do have Dart ahead of Flacco. I think Dart's a little bit more risky than Flacco this week. Probably should be. Like he is. I think he's more risky than Flacco this week, but been so good. I'll take that rushing upside for Dart. His floor is so high, and he's just been such a stud so far. 6 point per passing touchdown. That brings it closer. But I still trust Jackson. I still, yeah. I want Jackson Dart's like league winner upside. Joe Flacco's like keeps you afloat upside if you had quarterback problems. Yeah, Warren is tight end 1, huh? Well, it has something to do with Trey McBride being out and George Kittle in another not so great matchup coming off the week that he came off of his injury. That's why I dropped Hunter last week. He was my IDP player and was going on bye, so I dropped him for. Yeah, what I told you about that. I told you keep Hunter. Something along those lines. Thought Pearsall was coming back. Yep. Makes enough sense. We'll see on Hunter. I mean, there's no guarantees that that's to stay, but I do think that it is. I think he'll be something here. Frizzle, my current waiver claim is Pitts, Menangai, Booty, and Dart. Nice. Yeah, all good waiver wire options there. Tony Brentnall, hello, good evening. Thoughts on dropping, guys, don't forget to like the stream, please. Hendo for Tracy or Spears or Ray Davis. If I'm just holding on to somebody on my bench, I'd rather Henderson. I don't want to split running back in Tennessee's offense. Not that might not get better now without the head coach. It seemed to get better in the first week there. Well, I suppose if I'm just looking for a stash, Ray Davis, I would probably rather have than Henderson. Still trust that Buffalo offense more than New England offense. So Ray Davis would be the one that I would hold if I am just looking for pure stash there. You looking for somebody this week? Shoot, that might be Spears. And, I don't know that I love having to do it, but you can't. I mean, look at where I have Henderson ranked. It's in the trash bin. So if you gotta play someone, Tyjae Spears. I might have Tracy. No, Tracy's got a little bit lower there against Philly. Then I assume that's Ray Davis, right? Or is that? It's gotta be. Yeah, I mean, I've got Ray Davis lower than Henderson even, but I don't know. Maybe that's wrong. Yeah, I got Tyjae Spears at the top of that list for now for this week's rankings. I could drop Luther Burden and pick up Gadsden. I would do that and have both Gadsden and Pitts. Then I could flip Gadsden for something. Yeah, if he has another good week, he actually might be worth something. So that would probably be the way to go. Don't be too shocked if Luther Burden ends up having a big play this week. I do think against Baltimore, that's the week that you might pull something out, because even with how bad, the record is for Baltimore and everything, I still think it's a point of pride to beat Baltimore. So I expect that this might be a week where we see a couple of trick plays, and usually that's going to be like Luther Burden's alley there, some manufactured type stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing a Luther Burden touchdown. Might even be a thrown touchdown. Just saying. Might even be. I don't know if he can throw, but Yeah, that's that offense. Maybe. Dart has been on waivers this whole time, and it just dawned on me to pick up Dart for backup to May, even though they share. Yeah, I checked because Dart's available in one of my leagues, and it happens to be the league where I'm like totally set at quarterback. So I was like, nuts. Kind of think about it. Maybe that's the league I have Brock Purdy. I wonder. I guess I would probably rather Dart. I might have to go make that kind of similar kind of move. I'd rather keep Dart from my opponents, right? Like, does Dart scare you more to face? Yeah. He can put up some points. Frank Nunez, Love is my quarterback problem. Yeah, same here in one of my leagues. I've had Love in there, and guess who's been doing better than Love? Freaking Trevor Lawrence. My backup in that league. And that is a league I thought of getting Dart in, and I didn't want to use my waiver on it. And at this point, would have been helpful. Might have gotten me another, at least 1+ win, if not more. Shoot. That was a mistake. I was thinking about Flacco. I think Flacco's solid too. I feel with buys coming up in a 5-man bench, some of these guys are going to have to drop some backup quarterbacks that they hoard. Well, that's possible, but there's also been a lot of quarterback injuries, and if you have IR spots, you know they might be able to be slipping some of them down and picking some up too in the short term. Smitty. Rest of the season, would you rather have Dart or Herbert? Oh, I think that's Herbert. Because that offensive line is going to get Joe Alt back soon. And they were in an okay place. Now they've lost other guys too. I would probably have to look at the rest of the season schedules. Why don't we do this? Actually, our schedules look good. Herbert's doesn't look as good, but I don't trust them. So let's just do the regular season here, and then look at the playoffs. So week 14, Minnesota. Who is this? Okay, Herbert. Minnesota. Not great. Tennessee. I'm fairly good, but it's a bit of a running back. But they don't necessarily have their running back, so probably good. Pittsburgh's good. Jacksonville, probably good, but maybe not so much. Las Vegas should be a good matchup. Philly, high upside matchup, and their offensive line and everything should be going, and they might have the running back, which would go a long ways there. Actually, they're supposed to have him back. Playoffs, Kansas City, Dallas, Houston. So that's 2 bad, 1 good. One of them in the championship, one of them in the first round. So playoffs look crappy there for Herbert. And see, they gave that like 3 stars or something. Like, no, that's like 2. Got 1 good matchup out of 3. And then Jackson Dart's schedule. So it's a week 14 bye. So if your playoffs start in week 14, beware. But Philadelphia this week, rough matchup. San Francisco, not a fantastic matchup, but not anything to be too concerned about. Chicago, good. Green Bay, not good. Detroit should be good, more so than not. New England, kind of somewhere with San Francisco, so it's fine. Not great. I want to say Justin Herbert's was a little bit better there, probably. Playoffs, though, Washington, Minnesota, Vegas. I think I'd go Dart over Herbert there by just a little ways. Rest of regular season, Herbert. Through the playoffs, Dart. Isaiah Davis. That's all that needs to be said, right, Tony? Yeah, I mean, he's worth having. See if Brees doesn't get shipped off. I believe I have a waiver wire out there on one of my Raws. Yeah, I'm going to drop, possibly, if it goes through, Nick Chubb for him, because that roster has a bunch of Nick Chubbs. A little bit better than Nick Chubb, but the roster is... The strong point is not the running back room, and if I could add on to it a starting running back for a team, and maybe that starting running back becomes something That would be huge for the team. So in that situation, I'm taking a chance on that trade happening, even though I don't normally follow trades too much. Frank Nunez, I have Mason, Taylor, Pitts, Hadon, Gadsden, Theo Johnson. Oh, all on waivers. God, I was about to freak out at you, Mal, and be like, why the hell do you have 5 tight ends on your roster when you can just go to the waiver wire and pick somebody up? I do have Bowers on IR, so not sure I want to waste a waiver claim on a rental. Well, and isn't Bowers coming back this week, or do they have a bye this week? They're on bye this week, aren't they? No. I think Brock Bowers is supposed to be coming back this week. Well, I don't know about supposed to, but has a good chance. They came out with an announcement about when they're expecting him back. I thought it was just like this week, but is there a bye week next week, and maybe it's after that? Expected to return week 9, but this is... Let's see. Said week 9. Okay. They are on bye this week? Oh, I'm just looking at rest of season. That's why they showed up. All right. Yeah, so after the bye. So my original thought was right. It was like after the bye, he was going to be able to come back, and that was next week. But that was last week that came out. Okay. So yeah, you need somebody this week. Number 3 on waivers. I mean, 5 tight ends aren't going to be picked up, right? More like 4. I don't really want Theo Johnson this week. I know he ended up... No, he didn't end up doing anything against Philadelphia 2 weeks ago. I don't think. And he got lucky this week in another bad tight end matchup where that ball was that when the ball bounced or whatever, and then he caught it and then had open space. It wasn't even the target of the throw when he gets a touchdown. So I mean, between Pitts, Taylor, Otten, Gadsden, they're all in a same tier. So yeah, I would not use the waiver claim myself there, Frank, and just take what's left, Frizz, I got a nasty one for you. You know I like it nasty. Who do you like more? Double quarterback flex. So super flex? That's a super flex, Frizz. Andy Dalton, Marcus Mariota, or Quinn Ewers? Well, we don't even... Tua's supposed to play. Did I miss an announcement? Last I saw, the head coach said, Tua gonna play. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen any news on that. Did you need 2 quarterbacks or just one? Andy Dalton, Carolina. And we also don't know that much. I mean, right now I would go Marcus Mariota. He has the by far highest chance to play. I have no clue on Bryce Young. I'm currently ranking Bryce Young, and I am currently ranking Tua because the head coach said that he's still going to be the starter. That they're not making a change. So, I know if you listen to the fantasy footballers, they seem to miss that because they said something about a potential change, and they quoted something about something that somebody said, but there's a quote out there directly from the head coach's mouth, not that they don't lie sometimes or change their mind a couple days later, saying that there is going to be no quarterback change, that he still trusts Tua Tagovailoa. So, I think you got to go Marcus Mariota just because that's like the only one there. But there's my quarterback rankings this week, if that might help any kind of decision making. I don't have Mariota in here right now. Is Mariota Atlanta? Yeah, man. None of them are. None of them are sure things. But he's going up against Miami. Yeah, so out of the 3 of them, I would rather Marcus Mariota. None of them are guaranteed things. Like if Aaron Rodgers is available, I would go that. If Michael Penix is available, I would go that. Spencer Rattler's available. You could go that route. He's all right. I do have Mariota ranked. Oh, he's Washington. I thought Washington at first, and then I convinced myself Atlanta. Mariota, Kansas City. Shoot. Forget that. Forget that. Is Spencer Rattler available? I think Mariota is the most likely one to play, so I think you got to go that route. Ugh. Might be rough, but he's supposed to get Deebo Samuel back, and I think also Terry McLaurin. Coach says he is confident in Tua. Yeah, that was the quote. Well, he is. I mean, that's his guy. He's going to go down sinking with the ship. Nice, Frank. You're that guy that's always in there like the moment waivers have run and making moves out of waivers. I'm usually like second, and I don't even like... But there is somebody in my league who's always just there. I see already made some picks off the old waivers like 6 a.m., 5 a.m. maybe even. I don't even know if the Dolphins are going to play. They all might not even show up on game day. That is possible. That is actually, yeah, that is a possibility there. Well, it's a super flex league. You got to have the quarterbacks. This is why, when injuries happen, if you don't have a backup option, or through bye weeks and stuff too, like they're very important in Superflex. And all the more important because now teams have them all gobbled up. If you really get in a pinch and you don't even have a starting quarterback, much less one to play in both your Superflex spot and your flex spot, and your quarterback spot, it's bad. It's such an advantage to have a quarterback in your Superflex. All right, gentlemen, it's been an hour. Any last second questions here? Otherwise, we're going to call it a stream. Because I got to start fasting in like a half hour, and I wouldn't mind popping a little something else in my stomach. Maybe an apple? It's a blood test. Apple will probably be a good idea, right? Let's do that. I'm going to have an apple. All right. 10. 9. Oh, god damn it, Frank. What DST do you like better? I have Buffalo versus Carolina and Dalton. My quarterback rankings are up on the screen. Chicago versus Baltimore, Lamar, maybe, or Cleveland. Oh, DST. Let me go. Okay, so you're looking between Buffalo, Chicago, but maybe Cleveland versus New England. But the best one of the bunch, Tampa Bay versus New Orleans, is probably the route. I'm curious where the experts got Buffalo at Carolina. Yeah. That or Tampa Bay, isn't it? And Tampa doesn't... Spencer Rattler tends to normally not throw a lot of picks. It's probably Bryce Young, but either quarterback, I don't know, that makes a huge difference. I'd almost probably rather it be Bryce Young, to be perfectly honest. I think I probably agree with these rankings on the screen there. I think it's probably Buffalo. Obviously, it could be Chicago. So, if you don't think a lot of people are having to pick up DSTs this week, you could pick up Chicago and then hope that you could get Tampa Bay or Buffalo later on in the week. if Lamar doesn't play. Did Lamar practice today? I haven't seen any. Did they just not practice today? 12 hours ago, misses practice again, so that's from yesterday's news. I haven't seen any news from. They must have done like a walkthrough because they're coming off of bye week, right? Yeah, so it must have been like a walkthrough type practice. And then they'll have their normal practices. They don't play on Thursday, do they? Well, I guess I got their game right here. Oh, it doesn't say. Yeah, they're not playing Thursday, so they just have a regular schedule week. So I don't know why people are. We probably shouldn't be freaking out about the Monday thing. So I guess I wouldn't bank on that. I guess I would go Buffalo there, Frank. All right, we're gonna call it there, Buffalo, and that'll be it. That'll be it. So thank you very, very much. You're very, very welcome. Have a great night. I'm gonna go get me some apple. Peace out.